I'm 94 years old, and I need to tell you about a moment that lasted less than 3 seconds, but taught me more than 94 years of living ever could. It was the final look my wife gave me before she died. Not her final words, those were ordinary, a whisper about being thirsty. Not her final breath, that came quietly, almost politely, like she didn't want to disturb anyone. It was the look, the way her eyes found mine in those last conscious moments, and held something I had never seen before, something I didn't understand until it was too late to do anything about it. That look changed everything I thought I knew about love. And the tragedy is that I had 61 years of marriage to learn what that look taught me in an instant. 61 years. And I missed it completely. My name is Arthur. I was born in 1930 in a small town in Pennsylvania that doesn't exist anymore, swallowed up by a city that kept expanding until it erased everything I knew as a child. I've lived through things most people only read about in history books. But none of that matters now. What matters is her. What matters is Margaret. What matters is what I failed to understand until she was leaving me forever. I met Margaret in 1957 at a bookstore in Philadelphia. She was 23 years old, standing in the poetry section, holding a volume of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and she was crying. Not sobbing, not making a scene, just quiet tears running down her cheeks as she read. I should have walked away. Any sensible man would have given her privacy, but I couldn't move. I had never seen anyone feel a book so deeply, and I knew in that moment that I was looking at someone who experienced life differently than I did. I approached her and said something foolish, something like, "That must be a very sad poem." She looked up at me with wet eyes and smiled, and that smile undid me completely. She said, "No, it's a very beautiful poem. That's why I'm crying." I didn't understand what she meant. How could beauty make you cry? But I nodded like I did, because I wanted her to keep talking to me. We were married in 1959, a small ceremony, a modest reception, and then 61 years of sharing a life. 61 years. That sounds like a long time when you say it. It sounds like enough time to learn everything about a person, to understand them completely, to give them everything they need. But I'm here to tell you that you can spend 61 years with someone and still miss the most important things. You can sleep beside someone for 22,000 nights and never truly see them. Let me tell you what I thought love was. I thought love was protection. I thought love was provision. I thought love was keeping someone safe, solving their problems, fixing what was broken. I thought love was a job, and I was determined to be excellent at it. I made good money. I bought us a beautiful home. I made sure Margaret never had to worry about bills or security or the future. When something broke in the house, I fixed it. When something threatened our family, I handled it. When Margaret was upset about something, I analyzed the problem and offered solutions. I was a provider. I was a protector. I was a fixer. I thought these things made me a good husband. For 61 years, Margaret tried to tell me what she actually needed. She used words. She used hints. She used silence. She used tears. And I never heard her. Not because I wasn't listening, but because I was listening for the wrong thing. I was listening for problems to solve. She was trying to tell me that she wasn't a problem. I remember a night in 1978. We had been married almost 20 years. Margaret came home from a doctor's appointment looking shaken. Her mother had died of breast cancer, and Margaret had found a lump. It turned out to be nothing, but that night she was terrified. She sat on our bed trembling, and I could see that she needed something from me. So I gave her what I always gave her: information, solutions, plans. I told her about survival rates and treatment options and the best oncologists in the city. I told her we would get second opinions and third opinions. I told her we would fight this together. I gave her a battle plan. She listened quietly. Then she said, "Arthur, I don't want you to fix this. I just want you to hold me." I held her. But even then, even with my arms around her, my mind was racing through contingencies and preparations. I was holding her body, but I wasn't present. I was already 3 steps ahead, planning for a future that hadn't happened yet. She knew it. She always knew it. And after a few minutes, she pulled away and said she was tired and wanted to sleep. I thought I had done the right thing. I thought I had been strong for her. It took me 40 more years to understand that she didn't need my strength. She needed my presence. She needed me to be afraid with her, not to pretend I had everything under control. She needed to feel less alone, and I made her feel more alone by immediately going into solution mode. That was the pattern of our marriage. Margaret would open her heart, and I would respond with my head. She would share a feeling, and I would offer a fix. She would want connection, and I would give her competence. Every time. For 61 years. I want to tell you about Margaret's final years. In 2017, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Slow at first, just small forgettings, misplaced keys, repeated questions. I told myself it was normal aging. I told myself we would manage it. I told myself I would protect her from this too. But you can't protect someone from their own mind disappearing. You can't fix Alzheimer's with determination or money or plans. For the first time in my life, I faced a problem I couldn't solve, and I didn't know who to be. As Margaret's memory faded, something strange happened. She forgot many things, but she never forgot how I made her feel. She would look at me sometimes with confusion, unsure of my name, unsure of where she was, but she would reach for my hand with complete trust. She knew, somewhere deeper than memory, that I was safe, that I was hers. And I realized, watching her forget everything but the feeling of our relationship, that feelings were all that ever mattered. Not the house I bought, not the problems I solved, not the security I provided. Those things were already forgotten. What remained was how she felt when I walked into the room. That was my legacy. That was what 61 years had built. In her final months, when she could no longer speak in complete sentences, I learned to just sit with her. No fixing, no planning, no solving. Just sitting, holding her hand, being there. 61 years of marriage, and I finally learned to be present in the last 6 months. I would watch her face for hours, memorizing every line, every expression. I would tell her stories about our life together, not because she remembered them, but because speaking them aloud made them real again. I would play the songs we danced to in 1959, and sometimes her eyes would flicker with something like recognition, and she would squeeze my hand. Those months were the most intimate of our marriage, not the honeymoon, not the early years of passion, the months when she was disappearing, because I finally stopped trying to do something and learned to simply be with her. Now let me tell you about the look. It was March 14th, 2020. Margaret had been declining rapidly. The doctors said it wouldn't be long. I was sitting beside her bed, holding her hand, when she suddenly opened her eyes. She hadn't been truly lucid in weeks, but in that moment, she was there. Margaret was there. My wife of 61 years was looking at me with complete clarity, and her eyes held something I had never seen before. It wasn't fear. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't even love, not the way I had always understood love. It was something deeper. It was acceptance. Complete, total acceptance. She was looking at me and seeing everything, every failure, every missed moment, every time I fixed when I should have felt, every time I was present in body but absent in spirit. She saw it all, and she loved me anyway. That look said, "I know who you are, Arthur. I always knew. I knew you didn't understand what I needed. I knew you were trying your best with the tools you had. I knew you loved me the only way you knew how. And it was enough. It was always enough." In that moment, I understood what love really is. Love is not about getting it right. Love is not about being the perfect partner. Love is not about solving problems or providing security or having all the answers. Love is about being seen completely, flaws and failures and all, and being accepted anyway. Love is about grace. For 61 years, I thought I had to earn Margaret's love by being competent, by being strong, by being useful. I never understood that her love wasn't a reward for my performance. It was a gift. It was always a gift. And I spent 61 years trying to pay for something that was freely given. Her eyes closed after that look. She whispered that she was thirsty. I gave her a small sip of water, and then, quietly, gently, she was gone. I have lived 4 more years since that day. 4 years of sitting with what that look taught me. 4 years of wishing I had understood it sooner. 4 years of grief mixed with gratitude, because she gave me something in that final moment that I didn't deserve. She gave me absolution. I want you to understand something. The person who loves you is not waiting for you to be perfect. They're not keeping score of your failures. They're not withholding love until you figure out how to meet all their needs. They are loving you right now, today, exactly as you are. And if you're lucky, they will look at you at the end with the same grace Margaret gave me. But here's what I wish I had known. You don't have to wait until the end to accept that grace. You don't have to wait until someone is dying to stop performing and start being present. You can put down the need to fix and simply sit with the people you love. You can stop trying to earn what is already freely given. Your wife doesn't need you to solve her problems. She needs you to listen without offering solutions. Your husband doesn't need you to have all the answers. He needs you to sit with him in the questions. Your children don't need a perfect parent. They need a present one. Your parents don't need your competence. They need your company. I spent 61 years being the wrong kind of husband. I was reliable, responsible, capable, and utterly missing the point. Margaret needed me to feel with her, not fix for her. She needed my heart, not my head. She needed presence, not solutions. And I gave her everything except what she actually wanted. But here's the grace in my story. She loved me anyway. She stayed. She held my hand for 61 years. She gave me that final look that contained no accusation, only acceptance. I didn't deserve it. I had failed her in ways I didn't even recognize until she was gone, and she loved me anyway. That's what love is. Not perfection, not performance, not earning your place in someone's heart. Love is being known completely and accepted unconditionally. Love is grace upon grace upon grace. I'm 94 years old. I sleep alone now in a bed that still feels too empty. I talk to Margaret sometimes, out loud, telling her about my day. I like to think she hears me. I like to think she knows that I finally understand. If you have someone who loves you, and I hope you do, stop trying to earn it. Stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to fix everything. Just be there. Sit with them. Look into their eyes and let them see you, really see you, with all your failures and fears and inadequacies. And trust that their love is not a reward for your performance. It's a gift. It was always a gift. That's what Margaret's final look taught me. That's what love really is. And I'm telling you now so you don't have to wait until the end to learn it. Go find the person you love. Stop what you're doing and go find them. Hold them. Look at them. And let yourself be seen. Not the version of you that has it all together. The real you. The scared, imperfect, trying your best you. Let them see that person. Because that's the person they love. That's the person they've always loved. And the sooner you believe that, the sooner you can stop performing and start living. Margaret taught me this in her final look. I pray you learn it sooner than I did.